you're in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
When did you move over?
Well, I first came here for summer schools when I was 11 or 12, and then I moved here for high school again when I was 14. So I think permanent like 14. Yeah, so it's been almost 8 to 9 years now.
So you already graduated?
Yeah, I graduated this summer from a psychology degree with a minor in biological science.
Why did you choose this major?
Well, I feel like a lot of people who went into psychology were a little confused in a way because it's so broad. When you go into psychology, everything is so broad because this degree, you're meant to go into grad school and you're meant to do a PhD degree to actually pursue this career. So I went in having this notion that I will be a therapist one day. I want to help people. I want to learn more about me in general, of how I am and people around me. Yeah.
So how do you feel that you are able to fulfill your old passion and even make it into career?
Well, my passion's always been working with people. A lot of people in my life know that one thing I've repeatedly told them is that I want to be a part of this world. I want my existence here I want to contribute my part as a human being to the society, to this ecosystem, and work into, share their benefit. So it was pretty obvious that working with people has always been my passion. And so like I wanted to work with adults at first, adults with mental illnesses, because I feel like they're the people that need more help, because we don't talk about mental illness in Thailand. It's almost taboo. It's almost very like, why do you even have time to be depressed? Or why are you anxious? Like, just go find something to do. You're just bored. You're just a lazy child. But there's so much more complex than we have ever thought, because everyone go through mental illness at some point in their life without even knowing, right? So I think it's important to make it more transparent and make it more important in such a country that people don't talk about, but yet there's so much of this issue. So I wanted to do that. And however, so the more I do it, the more I've gone to school, it's so mentally exhausting. It's very stressful because you do a lot of school, and I do science psychology, so we're not a lot about theory, so it's a lot about experimental processes and anatomy and a lot of brain scans and researches, and I loved it, but I've realized that if I want to continue this as a job, it will be very hard, and it's not what I wanted to do. So I got a job as a child service, so like a social service, like a social worker, and I work with mental illness children, so children with just behavioral disabilities, they have ADHD, autism, they're on the spectrum, and it was very fun. Like it was very fun in a way that I felt like it was quite profound that my presence in their life is so impactful, that just me being there, sitting with them while they're crying or they're having a hard time can mean so much to them, because they needed someone they can trust. So this led me to wanting to work with children. And then I realized that I want to actually work with children in schools, because that's where most kids spend their time, right? They spend like 95% of their time in schools, and they need people they can trust. And it helped that my mother's a teacher. So people in my life, like I've had tons of people in my life who are teachers, and I just think, I'll go back to school to be a teacher and then move forward. Yeah, so I changed from wanting to be with an adult to working in a lower, like in a bigger scale, not bigger, maybe like a smaller scale population, which are children. But I'm still in the same passion goal, is that working towards helping people with their mental illness.
Did you know that when you talk about your passion, you kind of glow?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, well, I feel that it's great that you can follow your dreams. Not everyone can do that due to a lot of like factors.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been difficult. Like, I'm not saying that I have it all. I'm not saying that I know what I'm doing at all cost, which no one does. But I've always found that if I create like minor goals for myself and I try to just like hit that, because I'm not a fast person. I'm a person that I'll slowly moving towards something I want, and I know I'll get there. Not necessarily really the same time as other people, which I don't really care, because they're not going to pay my bills. So I'm going to have to work it on my own terms. Yeah.
Then next question is, from today's topic of I found the new me in my old passion, in your opinion, what is the new you? And what was the turning point that had led you to become the person you are today?
Well, I think the new me, I feel like I've grown to understand more of how like I work in the society, how I exist in a way that I have to be doing something like with children. So my new passion is to work with children. I've learned that I've always denied that, oh, I don't really like kids. Like, I think they're like not really my thing for like the longest time. But I've found that if I want to change the world in a way that makes it, if I want to improve like, you know, like the world mental health, which is, I mean, it will need a lot of more people than me. I have to start with children because they are essentially like the first, like their mind is like a blank slate. You know, they come in and they're like a sponge. They absorb the things in their environment. They absorb what people in their lives have taught them, right? So that's like my passion. And like the turning point was probably, I think I was probably just like I was having a really hard time in school. Like first and second year, I was not doing my best, and I just felt like I don't want to be sitting and reading textbooks for years and years and years and going to labs and doing like statistics and analysis, and that's not what I wanted. So I've decided that instead of being a cognitive psychologist or a neuropsychologist, that's what I wanted to go into as a science-based psychology. I want to spend more time in a social factor of psychology and working with younger people, so like developmental psychology. Yeah.
Wow. You told me that you don't really like kids, but the first job that you chose was social workers that deal with kids. Do you want to talk about why you chose?
Well, I needed an experience on my resume, to be honest, to go into grad school. You need to show that you have worked with kids. You have successfully worked with children. You don't have to be a social worker. You could be volunteering or anything, but I just came across this great opportunity. I didn't even think I was going to get the job, but I got it and I started like right away. And it was very hard. It was very hard, but I loved it. I loved the children I worked with, but it was very hard in a way that it was 1-to-1. So you're with that child for 6 to 8 hours a day. It's 1-to-1. Wow. You're with them from like, they're like, from 0 to 100, you know? So it's always been difficult because I feel like I want to protect them, but at the same time, I can't be unprofessional. I can't be like a friend. So I have to act very like distant in a way. And I feel like that's why that led me into a conclusion that if I work in like a environment, like in a school, I'll be with like more kids, and the kids will, how do you say, like there'll be like a different side of themselves in like a public environment.
Wow.
So like I'll be able to like see their actual behavior and how they learn, how they interact with like other kids. But yeah, working with kids are always hard, but it's so rewarding because they are so, they're so pure in their heart.
Yeah.
That if they care enough about you, they will show that. Like they are so grateful for everything that it's just so happy, like tons of, yeah, I was very happy with my job. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you were smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
So what is the hardest part so far of your job?
Well, I had to like quit my job because of the whole coronavirus thing, because I don't want to get sick, and I work with children in their homes, so I don't know who comes in, who goes, where they've been, and I have to go back to school full time, which is very hard for my job because the hours are not concrete. I get booked like at 6 p.m. if they want me to 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. sometimes. And I think the hardest part was like seeing the child go through whatever he's feeling inside, and you can't help it because you know that he has to go through it himself, and you can't do it because you're not their parent. And it's very hard because they're so young, and knowing that they're so young and they have to like face such difficulty like emotionally, and it's like their brain is like they can't detangle what's ever inside, and like it's really hard because once you're sitting there, you're seeing like this 5-year-old child, a 3 or an 8-year-old child crying and not knowing what he's thinking. It's just very hard. Yeah.
How do you cope with this?
I mean, I come home, I call my mom and I complain quite a lot, which I shouldn't be, but it helps to just talk to other people who have experienced the same difficulty. Like I have friends who work in the same job. I call my boss sometimes. Sometimes I just come home and I just completely forget about it. Or sometimes I come home and I plan a new activity just to keep like their kids' mind like running so they're not consumed in that emotional disturbance. Yeah, so I have come home and most of the time I just unwind, but I always go back and to work with new activities for them to do. So yeah, I think I come home and I just plan new things and how to cope with it. Yeah.
I see. So you finally found yourself, right? Had the journey been like smooth, or there was like ups and downs, doubtfulness, anything?
Well, I don't think anyone's journey is completely smooth. It might seem smooth as an like outsiders might see it as smooth, like, oh, you have it all, which no one really does. It just feels like that. But I feel like it's been ups and downs. It's been a lot of like emotional roller coaster because I wanted to walk. I wish I get to where I want in my professional life faster, but I know that I'm not there yet because I need so much more education to be working like in such a like, how to say, a very critical, like my job will be very hard. Like my job won't be like I go to work and I will sit in a desk and finish my task and give it to my boss. My job will be literally working with like people's lives. So it's always, it's difficult to,
but it's rewarding, right?
Yeah, it's how do you say, like I found myself and I've been working towards my passion ever since, because that's what I'm like. I want to work towards my passion. But I would say that because I have my goal set already, it's easier to get there. Like I see that finish line, so it's not difficult to get there. Yeah, so it's not like I'm going like sideways. It's like, wait, am I supposed to go here or not? But so it's like go straight, but there's some days, like some good days, some bad days, but it's been really good to know that you found what you want. Yeah.
What's your final goal? It's just to get that career that you wanted?
Well, my final goal is I want to own like a Montessori type elementary school. So I want to be like owning like a school where children can come and be children and actually found what's inside. Like I feel like there's like, you know, younger elementary, like middle school, they're in such a critical period where that's where their passion really shows. You know, they're not being persuaded by society to tell them what to do. And yeah, I want to have a school where they can really come and be kids, because they don't really get to do that anymore.
I absolutely agree, because I'm actually from like a Montessori school.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah. Oh really?
Yeah, I've been to Montessori school since I was kids and until yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it allows us like to be ourselves and just be kids, which is what is important, because we find ourselves when we're a kid and we need to know what we want, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think we should now shift a bit to like, how has your life been since COVID-19 started?
I mean, well, it really hits here like mid-March. It hit Thailand way like faster, so it hit here in mid-March, and we started doing online school, which wasn't hard. And then, I mean, everything just kind of stopped, but I had my school still, so it was not that bad. But summer has been kind of weird because I've stayed home like 95% of the time. I'm always at home, or like I sometimes go on a hiking trip with my friends. Like I see some of my friends, which is very rare. Now, like it's been different, but I don't feel like anything changed because I've always protected myself. Like I wear masks, I've like clean my hands, I clean my house all the time. I don't really go to where there's a lot of people. So it's actually still happening here. So I know Thailand is back to normal. Like not back to normal, but like so much better. People here don't wear masks. I mean, they force them to now, but a lot of people still don't wear masks. Yeah. So it's not helping.
But you do, right?
Yeah, I've been wearing masks like I think like even like March when there was like 5 cases. So I've been like stocking up and like, yeah.
What's your tips to finding yourself?
I've always found that what I truly like I always like go back in my memories and search what I truly like. You know, when you're a kid and you really like something, but you know that like, oh, I probably shouldn't be doing that. You know, when you're in like grade 10 or 11, you're like, someone's like, what do you want to be in the future? And you're like, I don't know, like an engineer and a doctor, because those are the things that society are telling you to do, right? They're like, you have to be something that makes you money rather than something that makes you happy. Because my mom's always said that you have to, like, if you go to work happy every day, you're not really working, right? You have to be happy. And I would advise that you would go back maybe in a month or last year or 3 years ago, or when you feel like in high school, when they really ask you about this, excuse me, what were you really thinking? What was the first thing that came into your mind? Like something that you actually want to do and not something that you should be doing. Yeah.
So is there anything you would like to say to Gen Y audience? Maybe those who already found their passion or those who are just still wondering?
Well, I think that we're living in a world that is evolving very rapidly. It's so fast that you might not feel like you're, how do you say? You might not feel like you're knowing where you're sitting, you know, you don't know where your life is because everything's changing all the time and you constantly having to find what's next, what's on the agenda for me. Like, am I going to have this job 5 years from now? Is my my field of studies going to be popular in 5 years? You know, everything is changing so quick, but that doesn't mean that you have to change who you are. You can change your way of approaching what you want to do. Like you can do it more electronically or like in a technical field, but your passion will always be your passion and stick with it because there's so many more ways of doing what you love than what is mainstream. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Thank you for that. And is there anything you want to tell the parents of your generation?
Well, I think Gen Z parents are much more open to listening to their children, which is very good. And all I want to say that parents should not be the controller of their children's life. Excuse me. They shouldn't be the dictator of their child's life because you're never going to be there forever. Like eventually, they will have their own lives and they'll have a career, they'll get married, they'll have to figure it out how to make money or how to exist in this world without you. So I believe that it's good for parents to see themselves as a life guidance, as someone to guide them, to like help push them rather than pulling to where they should be, because children are very smart. I think all of your kids are very smart and they know what they want. And with proper guidance in such a young age, they could go towards what they want easily, because just don't force them and understand that mental health is very real and your kids are not being lazy if some of them probably are, but some of them do need help. Like seriously, like so many people need help because, you know, with the world changing so quick, you're so lost. You feel so confused. It's almost like you're standing in like, imagine like standing in Bangkok and everyone just walk and you're like, oh my God, where am I going? Which exit am I taking? You know, and that's how they're like, some of them in their brain. And because things are changing so quick, parents have to understand that what they went through as a child is not the same anymore. Things are much more complex. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask when you were about to choose a career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it inspire you? Like anyone?
Well, like my mom has always inspired me to be a teacher, you know, because she's doing what she likes. And I've always admired that she didn't go and be a nurse or a doctor or doing something she would hate but make her tons of money. You know, like I think that's very amazing because she never tells me what to do and like to do in a career field. And I think a lot of people who work as a humanitarian has always inspired me. Not particularly like one person, but in general, like a lot of like women who work in caring for children, in working for like women empowerment in a way that you know, support mental health issue has always inspired me. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Well, since you want to open a Montessori school, do you plan to make some changes to this school of yours to like help with mental health of children?
Yeah, totally. I would really encourage parents to spend more time with their children, not just at home, but in the school. And I would encourage the child to find their interest and their passion by doing more activity based in a way. And I think obviously I will have like experience with that field, and I will have like staffs who are also experienced in mental health. And so I would definitely make it such a safe place for both parents and children to come and pretty much like, I need help. It's okay for me to need help. It's okay for my 5-year-old child to need help. And like a judgment-free place with support and guidance. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is this plan for like a Montessori school in Canada, or is it you want to try to do it in Thailand too?
Well, I want to move to Thailand eventually because it's easier to start a business there because there's so much more resources and there's so many more people who need this. And I feel like a lot of things here are already pretty much figured out. So moving to Thailand is an obvious choice with the support and being near family. And I think it will benefit Thai children even more. Mm-hmm.
I agree. At what age do you think it is going to be most helpful to find your passion?
Well, when you're still young, what you like isn't necessarily your passion yet, because you're gonna like a lot of things. You're gonna wake up one day, I want to play dough, I like clay, I like cooking, I want to be a doctor, because your interest then is very valid. Like, what you enjoy really shows your personality and what you might potentially be as an adult. But I think once you're hitting around 15 to 16, that's when I think not like you will be thinking about what you want to do when you're 15 or 16. Some of them might be already thinking about it without knowing it. You'll be like walking to work or walking to school and be like, I actually like that. That's what I really enjoy. But is it really what I should do? Something like that. And your passion will come through when you're in a period where you're going to school, you're deciding what you want in life, which I believe that everyone has time to find their passion. You go to school, you come home, you read textbook until like for 8 hours, which I do. Like I go to work, I go to school, I read my textbook, I eat. Sometimes I forget to eat. I was like, that doesn't mean that you don't have time at all. You do have time, but you don't need to like sit here and like think like, oh my God, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? I think it will come to you when you're in like your clearest mind and you're really I think it's inside every one of us, right? Like it's inside of you too. Like you said, because I know you're in med school and it's very hectic. You come home, you're like, well, I have to study. I don't have time to eat. Like, this is my job. Like, I'm going to be a doctor, which is really great. That could be your passion too. But maybe your passion might be something you truly do when you're having a bad day. Maybe you're having a bad day and you want to read a book or you want to draw. That's all you do. And that could be your passion too. Mm-hmm. But it's all about, are you ready to take a step with what you truly want to do? It'll be a hard road, but it will be much more fulfilling. Yeah.
Do you ever think it's too late to try and go for your passion?
No, I don't think it's ever too late unless you're really, really old and you're high. But no, I don't think it's too late, even if you're 70 or 80, because that's who you are, but because it's when because it shows that you actually found the self in you. Like you found who I am, like the one true self that sits inside you. That's how you got your passion, right? And it's never too late, because that's something that is so important, and it makes everyone happy. It makes you happy, and it's such a vital component of your life. Yeah.
What happens if you found your passion finally, yay, but then your family doesn't agree with your career choices? What do you recommend us to do?
Well, I feel like because a lot of you live in Thailand, and we're such a collectivist society. Collectivist meaning that everyone, like, instead of being a singular human being in your world, you're like a giant family. Everyone contributes in how you feel, you think. Everyone has something to say. And I know that your parents, your family means so much to you. They are like almost essentially your life because that's how you grew up. But what you want to do, if it's not dangerous, if it's not illegal, and if it's going to fulfill who you truly are, I think you should totally do it. And your family will, who love you, if they truly love you, will come into terms that they're not the God of your life, that those persons will have to do whatever is best for them because they're on their own essentially. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
We're very lucky to have supportive families.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Do you have anything you want to add on? Any tips or anything you want to tell the audience and me about?
Well, honestly, all I want to say is that, not to be cliche, but do what you love, you truly love, and just be who you are. And your passion will come when you truly let yourself shine. Like when you let yourself shine, you're accepting the self inside of you, and your passion might and probably will come along with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always heard that, like, if you're passionate enough, no matter what career it is, you're gonna earn money from it eventually.
Yeah. A lot of people think money is very important. Money gives you everything, which is crazy because it's a human-made currency that we made it up, but it's so important, and I can't deny that it's not important. But if you're truly happy of what you have inside and you have enough money to, have a decent life, a comfortable house to live, pretty much like have what you have, like money will just be a small factor of that. It will, if you're truly happy of what you have inside, then that's really what matters. Mm-hmm.
I agree, because our life is actually really short.
Yeah, our lives are very short. I agree.
Yeah. So it is great if we can follow our passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's too short not to do that. It's too short to live our lives according to others, because whatever others say, they're not going to be there. Like, they're not going to be there on your lowest days. And
they're not you.
They're not you. They don't know who you truly are. They don't know how you truly feel. So work on the passion that works for you, essentially. Like, yeah.